Did want to mention Steve Jobs, who passed away at the age of 56 and going through pancreatic cancer, and the impact that he had on our lives. I know it's not sports related, but it's life related. And what I think the genius is sometimes, Bill Gates didn't invent the computer, but he made it so everybody had access to it. That he's a great marketer. But Jobs made you feel like you had to have every product that he put out. Like, you don't have an iPod? You don't have an iPad? Personal computer? He made you feel like you had to have everything. And the genius is, great marketer, but also he was an inventor. He was a brilliant man. And you wonder, it's not like you need these things every day of your life. It's not like water or electricity, but your iPhone, where would you be without it? Or your iPod or your iPad. The personal computers you have. But he pushed everybody to keep up with him, and maybe single-handedly saving the music industry with iTunes. Really remarkable, all the things that he did. And the fact that Apple ran him out the first time around, and then he came back with a vengeance. Just a really, really remarkable man. Yeah, Paulie.
When you think of that, though, can you picture yourself replacing him? I don't want to get too into it, but like, what pressure that must be on the company itself, but if there's a specific person that replaces him as the head of Apple or head of creative.
But this is how far ahead of everybody else he is. He was working on things that are going to be coming out. I think it's called iCloud. Is that right, Seton?
Yeah, that comes out this year.
Now, when was he working on this?
There's a video online that has him basically laying out the sort of vision of iCloud in 97.
That's remarkable. But here's another thing that he did. He would create a product and then create another product that would eat the product that he just created. So you would have an iPod, but then he'd create a better iPod that would make you get rid of that one. And then he would create another one. And then there was the iPhone that would eat the iPad or iPod. It was, it was so good that it made you go out and get something, even though you had something that already did that. And the iPhone, with what he's been able to do, and you just go through every day of how much you lean on those products. And guys love technology. You always want what is the latest. It's like, big screen TVs. As soon as you buy one, then you find out there's one that's better. Steve Jobs, able to be a great marketer, like Bill Gates, but I think he goes above and beyond Bill Gates. He was a genius. And I know that we use that word a lot, but to understand, to see what he saw, how he saw it, how far in the future he saw, really remarkable man. Yes, Eden.
And, even to just say that, like, the iPod or whatever is his sort of, not really his legacy, but what he's done almost trivializes, in a way, like the impact that somebody like him does have on your everyday life. Just the mouse that you're using on your computer, you probably touch 5 different a day.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really the guy who brought that to you. Now, whether he invented it or not, he's really the guy who made that a mass consumer product. Or
didn't Xerox create the mouse, but then he put the mouse into play with computers?
Right.
Yeah. Is that how it works? There's a lot of guys that borrow ideas, they sample ideas, they steal ideas. But I think what he was able to do is he put his stamp on a lot of these products. And we don't know his true impact on our lives. We may not know for another 15 years because of all the other products that he will have in play over the next 15 years.
It's immeasurable to think of the impact that someone like him has had on everybody's life. It's immeasurable.
There was also a doctor who died, Nobel Peace Prize, and his project was on pancreatic cancer. He was going through cancer, and he won the Nobel Peace Prize for the research on himself. He died before he got the Nobel Peace Prize a couple of weeks ago. So, just brilliant people sometimes that stepping out of the sports world to shine a light. Back to Steve Jobs for a moment. What's the one, if I took it away from you, that you would notice? How long would it take for you to notice it? If I took away your iPhone, how long before you go, where's my iPhone? Seton, you got yours right by your side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even. I mean, it's something I get in trouble actually because I don't even go like room to room really without it in my pocket. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding at all.
The iPod was something that I always had. Always. Whenever I traveled, always had it. The iPad, I didn't know I needed an iPad. But everybody said, oh, you got to have an iPad. Got to have an iPad. Oh, you don't have an iPad? And then you go, I don't know, I guess I need an iPad. And then you bring it home and you go, what would I do without the iPad?
Yeah, you speak of like sort of a Steve Jobs as a visionary.
Yeah.
You know, I was probably the anti Steve Jobs.
Oh, you were holding out?
Well, when the iPod came out, I was just like, do I really need every CD with me all the time? And so I was driving around with this case full of CDs.
Wait, did you actually sound like Bill Walton when you were saying that?
Because I have everything bootlegged. And so then all of a sudden I see all my buddies, they have all these iPads. And I'm like, damn, dude, like they literally have every CD they own right there with them. This is amazing. And it changed my life.
But it so plugs into what guys are all about, technology, latest thing, gadgets. Steve Jobs, you won't be able to measure his impact, I don't think, for another couple of decades. Yeah, boy.
And it's affecting sports because when you're in the stands at a sporting event, if you're at a Cubs game, you can watch a replay that you can't watch in the building. You could just grab your iPhone and watch a replay 2 minutes later. And NASCAR, with all like the stuff they do with inner car and fan cam that you can hold in your hand, that all goes back to what Apple's doing with handhelds.
And also, you're getting playbooks on iPads for football players that they're actually downloading it onto your iPad, so you're able to look at it on a screen instead of a piece of paper. All right, we'll get to your phone calls coming up. Got an update from one of the